David, here for last couple of weeks, spending time with women cricket. How's your experience so far here in the country?
Oh yeah, look, I've been here since the 19th of October, and I'm certainly enjoying the
Mm,
experience of being in Pakistan. Everyone's been very friendly. The board have been very supportive in terms of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to what we're trying to achieve. So all that's been excellent. You know, we've been fortunate to have a couple of camps and run a domestic competition in that
mm.
short space of time. So I'm certainly very pleased with how it's gone so far.
David, tell me something about your experience coaching Australia, bringing that experience to Pakistan, and in this culture, coaching a women's team. Did you feel any change between Australian culture, cricket culture? I'm talking about Australia and Pakistan.
Look, I've certainly been fortunate to work in the Australian female system with Victoria and the Melbourne Stars over the last five seasons. So, yeah, look, it's the Australian female system is set up really well. Cricket Australia spent a lot of money and put a lot of resource into the game over there. And there's no sort of surprise that Australia sit very high up the rankings in terms of their position and produce the players that they obviously do very consistently. So, yeah, in terms of where the changes, I guess the big thing for me is numbers. So again, in Australia, there's 7 states, or in the female game, there are 7 states with 15
Mm,
contracted players. So there's over 100 players that are playing on full-time contracts. So that has an impact on your strength and your depth. Obviously, in Pakistan, we don't have that at the moment. So there's one of the big differences. We're looking at a player pool of around 45 players. So that the latest, the last T20 domestic competition we held back in November in Rawalpindi involved 3 teams of squads of 14, so it was 42 players. So there's a big difference there, and those players aren't full time. So that's the biggest difference in terms of skill level. The Pakistan players are very skillful. It's just our aim is to help, or so
mm,
my job, I guess, in terms of my role is to
mm.
develop that consistency within the team, to improve those players individually. If we do that, then hopefully we can improve as from a team perspective as well, which should be knock-on effect. So that's the challenge at the moment.
Yeah, very very well said. As you said that Pakistani players are skill-wise so strong. Is This was the reason why you just took up Pakistan coaching, or thought to come here and groom these young cricketers and obviously experienced women cricketers here? Because if we look back, like 5 to 10 years back, women's cricket was much strong as it is now. So I just want to ask that what attracted you to join Pakistani women's team as a coach?
Oh, a couple of things really. I think the main thing, well, two things. As I mentioned, the skill level. I'd watched some of the T20 games I was still in Melbourne in February, when the February March when the World Cup was going on, and I witnessed the win against the West Indies. I also watched the loss against South Africa. So I'd seen a bit of the side. I'd also watched the Pakistan female side back in 2018 in Malaysia when they played against Australia. Because there was there was a couple of young Victorian players that were debuting for Australia. So I've been aware of the ability, if you like, within the group. So that was the first thing that attracted me. And secondly, for me, it was it's a great opportunity to work for an international side as an international coach. So there were two reasons, but the main reason was for me, what attracted me was the ability I think the squad has, and that was on show.
Yes, obviously, foreign coach when join Pakistan cricket, be it men or women, they talk about the skills here and players. Obviously, they are talented, but they need opportunities. I just want to ask next question. My next question from you is that just Mark coach from New Zealand joined Pakistani women's team. He changed the culture. He changed fitness standards. He changed the team's performance. Then again, Mark coach left. A local coach joined the team. Now again, a foreign coach. did you feel any change? Because for last couple of months, a local coach was coaching them, and now again a foreign coach, different mindset. Did you feel any change, and what change we will see in upcoming series?
I don't know about the change. I think what I would say is I think there are a lot of the local coaches that I've worked with are good coaches. So I can only talk from my own personal experience in terms of what I've seen and who I've worked with and had conversations with. So for me, in terms of the coaching and the mindset, I don't know what was going on previously. Look, I just look at where we are, where we sit in the rankings, and you look at the skill level, you look at individual player numbers or stats, and those stats don't correlate with the skill level. So that for me is one of the big things that we looked at. We're also trying to establish how we operate. From you talk about culture, but the environment that we create, especially the training environment, I think that's really important. It's important to train hard, play easy, if you like, is my sort of view on it, because you need to be tested and challenged, and you need to move outside your comfort zone. If you keep doing the same things, you're probably going to get the same result. So it doesn't make sense. So how can we challenge players more in training, put them under a lot more pressure? Because then when you get to the international games, so that's what we've sort of looked at from a training perspective. In terms of culturally, it's you're representing your country. So what does that actually mean? So we've, on this camp, we've sat down as a group the first couple of days, and we discussed, our training expectations and standards. Same for game time. Expectations of a Pakistan female player anyway, someone representing their country, and even came up with a team mantra. So which the players led, which was great, because now it's important you have an identity. So yes, it's a Pakistan women's national side, but what does that mean, and what do you stand for? So those are the things we're trying to put in place at the moment. They're fresh because we've only been together as a group for the last since the 20th of December. So it's been pretty short in terms of time, but so we've been pretty pleased with the response we're seeing at the moment and the impact that we're now seeing within the training environment.
Okay, let's put women's cricket for a while aside and just talk about your career. You represented Bermuda in international cricket. I remember your inning against India, 70 runs inning, and that inning it was dominant till date. And I just want you to tell us something about that inning against India, which is one of the prominent cricket nations across the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me it was. Look, I think first things first, it was a pretty good wicket, so pretty flat and with no demons. So look, for me it was a great experience to play in the World Cup, as it was for Bermuda as a country. We had where we were as an associate ranked country. It was about going there, taking learnings from the experience, and then hopefully then taking that back to the associate world. And dominating those other teams within that environment. So that the whole to go to a World Cup is I was very fortunate, and so was the rest of the Bermuda team. Unfortunately, Bermuda hasn't managed to get to an ICC World Cup, whether it be 50 over or T20 since. Which is disappointing, but for me personally, that particular day was certainly a highlight of my playing career.
Okay, so just want to ask that, was cricket playing difficult or coaching, as you are now coach and have a handsome coaching experience in Australia and England, obviously?
I love playing, and look, again, I would say fortunate to play county cricket, to play first class cricket in South Africa, and play with Bermuda, where you play around the world. So I think from a coaching point of view, trust the players. So the challenge becomes is preparing players the best way you can, so they can actually go out and win games of cricket. So that's probably the hard thing, and I think the the trick is to try and let it grow so players can grow and not trying to influence too much. You want players to win games by themselves without sort of influencing from the outside where possible. Even at a young age, I find that if you can let those young players grow naturally rather than sort of having too much influence, especially in game time. Obviously, it's different in practice in those sort of situations, but you want players to learn as much as you can. So the challenge is knowing when to jump in and when to just leave that natural evolution.
Yeah, and eventually want our players to have a good time with you. Moving back on Pakistan women's team, your South Africa tour, 3 T20Is, 3 ODIs.
Yes, I think so. I think we want to. I think we're at a stage now where we want to play. So we've been here for will be 3 weeks in a couple of days' time. So we've had 9 games cricket, so 5 inter squad games. When we had the extended squad of 27, that's now been reduced to 17. So we've and within the last 5 days, 6 days, we played four games against the local under-16 boys team from Sindh. So that's been good experience. Again, being tested against boys who hit the ball hard, move a little bit quicker, throw the ball harder, to play the game slightly differently. So in terms of the games, we've had match experience, but it is different when you get into the international setup. But in terms of being ready, I think the players now, when you're stuck in a hotel for 3 weeks, it is nice. So it'd be nice to be on the move, even though it's to another hotel, and it'll still be in a bubble. So we won't be able to get out and about, but it'll be a different experience and a new experience. So I think you need to play, and certainly I believe that the players are ready to get on and now just actually play some cricket at that level.
Okay, if you look at the team, like Miss Bisma Maroof, your regular captain is missing. Will it make any difference for you? Javeed Khan will be captaining the side. You have young players, experienced players. Tell us something about the team and absence of Bisma Maroof.
Oh, any team that loses their captain is going to be affected. Some great to a greater extent than others. But in terms of us, of course, we're going to miss Bisma. We're going to miss her leadership on and off the field, but also her contributions with the bat on the field. And I think, are we? Reality, we've got has acted as a vice captain for a number of years. She's also captained the side, so she has experience. She's an experienced player within her own by her own right anyway, having played over 200 games. So she knows the game. She's a competent player as well. She's respected by the other players. So yes, it's disappointing not to have Bisma, but we're fortunate we have a player in terms of Javeer's experience to step into the role. And Bisma, I feel for Bisma, but it now provides another opportunity for experienced players to take the ownership and score Bisma's runs, but also then it provides another opportunity for another batter within the squad to come in and stake a place for a regular place within the side.
David, if we look at the team, like if we go around the world and see teams like Australia, England, South Africa, they have players in down the order who can just hit 30 to 40 runs in last 2 to 3 overs to raise the score. We here in Pakistan lack that thing in our women's team. As you joined, or earlier, if we talk about Marcos, he joined. Power hitting has been very like a concern for Pakistan team. So how will you work on that department particularly?
I think it's just people talk about power hitting. I think I think at times it gets sort of misconstrued. I think for me, the players that strike the ball well are physically strong. I think if you look at those female sides, you mentioned England and Australia. Both those teams have been full time and been on full time contract for a number of years, and strength and conditioning is part of the fitness, is part of their routine. So now they're in the gym regularly, so they're physically stronger. So that's one element. That if I look at the Pakistan side as an area that we've identified from an S&C point of view that we need to get better at. So whether that be agility or strength, they're areas to work on. In terms of players, we do have players that can strike the ball, that are good strikers of the ball. Ali Riaz is one, Aisha Nazim is another. So it's not as if we don't have any players there. I just think it's more so are we seeing it enough and seeing it being successful enough? And again, I guess, those Australian players and England players and South Africa players are exposed, most of those are exposed to the Big Bash as an example. So they're getting experience to play a lot more games at a higher level than say the Pakistan girls. Nida Dar will talk about her experiences with the Sydney Thunder and how she learned from that experience of playing in that competition. And once you're exposed to that regularly, your game changes and you learn different techniques. But in essence, it's about getting in strong, powerful positions. So establishing a strong base, and if you're physically strong as well, then that's obviously going to help with the boundary hitting.
Okay, last but not the least, England have just recently confirmed their tour to Pakistan for the first time. They will tour in October, and you will be the coach of Pakistan side. How you are looking to that tour?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm just thinking about South Africa, but when the news came out yesterday, I was obviously aware that there was a possibility that the tour was going to go ahead, and they were going to the female side was going to tag along with the male side. And I think it's brilliant. I think I'm certainly excited about it. Again, it's another opportunity for us as a group to be tested against a side that's ranked higher than us, and any opportunity we get to play against teams that are higher provides us with a chance to learn and to challenge ourselves, and that's what we want. If we are to get better, then we need to see at close hand how these players play and how they go about it. So we're certainly looking forward to it. It's at home, so I think that should again create interest with the local people within Pakistan, and hopefully we get people watching, and certainly enough people watching live at the game. Hopefully COVID is done at that stage, and we can actually get people into the ground, which would be fantastic.
David, I would ask in last that I know coaching is quite difficult, especially in Pakistan, and it's a process. It is a slow process when a team and like World Cup and T20 World Cup. I would just ask that how much time do you think this team will take to compete at likes of Australia, England, South Africa, and we can take India as well?
Yeah, look, all those sides are very competent sides, and obviously ranked above us. You even got New Zealand to throw in the mix there as well. And that's the challenge that we have is how can we rise up the ranks, which is what we want to do. We're seventh. We believe that we're better than that, and so but we now have to show that. So what does that mean, and how do we get there? So that's what we're looking at and working towards. And is it achievable? Yes, I do think it's achievable, but how long it will take? It's how long's a piece of string, I guess. If you can start to build things, it's about consistency and performance, and I think that's what we want. We want to see us playing well consistently. If we do that, then we'll rise up the rankings. So that's why the training becomes really important, to make sure that we're training consistently well. And if we're doing that and that process is right, then hopefully that there should be a knock-on effect to games, and that's what we're hoping for.
Okay, that is signing off the last question, and that is about COVID-19. You will be in COVID-19 bubble when you arrive in South Africa, playing in those conditions and gelling in within the team, like players. Do you have some special plans to just let the player be cool and calm for the matches and win the series?
Yeah, again, you try and provide activities where possible. Obviously, we got 6 games plus a
Hmm.
practice game. There's 7 games. When we first get there, I think we've got to do a couple of days. We've got to wait a couple of days before we can do anything until the tests or test results come back. So, yeah, look, you try and make sure that players have rest time and downtime. So I'm told that it looks like we'll be able to move around the hotel and around the pool area, which will be great, rather than being sort of confined to your corridor and to your room. But yeah, you just try and provide activities. So there will be training days outside of match days as well. So that 3 weeks will fly pretty quickly anyway. But yeah, you're right. We do try and do team events. For example, tonight we're all going to watch a movie in 15 minutes actually. So we're getting together just to try and break up the camp. So that's important. You do those things because a person's mental well-being is very important. We're certainly seeing now across all sports that the challenges that COVID is providing, especially sports where like cricket, where you're in a set place for a number of days on end. So that's the challenge, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
Thank you so much, David, for your time, and I hope you and your girls obviously win the South Africa series and obviously your upcoming future assignments. And I wish you all the best with your coaching assignment with Pakistan team. And I hope we'll meet soon with a win against South Africa at their backyard. Thank you so much.
No,
Allah.
that's no problem at all. Thanks for your time. Thank you.